Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Running from the pain in my heart. Into the arms of another, and for a while she made me feel alright. But in a crazy blunder, your love took me back under. Now I'm tied to those shackles and chains. Said don't cry for me, stars. I love you and I want you, and you'll always draw me near. I'm just running from the pain in my heart. I'm just running from the pain in my heart. Unwind, and now I'm right back from where it began. How old will I be when you finally set me free, and the sun shines on my heart again? Said don't cry for me, sweet Annalie. Stars. I love you and I want you, and you'll always try I'm just running from the pain in my heart. I'm just running from the pain in my heart. I'm just running from the pain in my heart.
Acting stupid.
Come on out, 1965, them boys were called upon. Some fist-fighting cowboys in them jungles of Vietnam. But I'm an airborne man, baby. Drop me anywhere you please. Yeah, I'm one mean motherfucker. Don't you never double-cross me. 19 years old, doing the bidding for Uncle Sam. Desert boots strapped on my feet, machine gun in my head. But I'm an airborne man, baby. Drop me anywhere you please. Y'all, I'm one mean motherfucker. Don't you never double cross me. Come on now. Strapped across my vest, 800 more, and I'm gonna pluck one in your chest. I'm an airborne man, baby. Drop me anywhere you please. Y'all, I'm one mean motherfucker. Don't you never double cross me. Oh, 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 I'm a mean motherfucker. Don't you never I'm a mean motherfucker, so don't you never double cross me.
Wear a condom? We're in Fayetteville. No one gets STDs here.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
Hey there, what's up with us? It's TeeZee and Radar. Dang, girl, I forgot what you sounded like. It's been forever.
I know. That's okay. I forgot what I sounded like too. I've been shutting up lately, which is shocking.
You know, I hear that's not always a bad thing though. Holy shit, I didn't turn him on. It's how fucking dark it is. I didn't turn my lights on or nothing yet. I'm just down here being a shitheel. I haven't done anything yet. There you go. Look at that.
I have my new setup. Mine is much brighter.
I noticed you have an interesting little blanket or something. Man, what's going on with that?
I do. I have a beautiful quilt behind me that was made by Quilts of Valor. Oh, the other side has the little thing on it. I sent you the pictures.
You did. You did. And then if I was better at my job, I'd have them loaded onto a scene so we could talk about it. But I am not very good at my job at all.
That's all right. That's all right. So there is this amazing organization called Quilts of Valor, and they are all over the United States. You can look them up online. I think it's like quiltsofvalor.org or something. I should know that, but I don't.
Yeah, you should.
And you can be nominated. And I have lovely children who thought it would be a neat thing and nominated me. And then you get a neat little email and they say, hey, you've been nominated for XYZ and we'd like to have you come down. And they do this really cool little like ceremony. They invite the people who've been nominated. They do them like in small groups. There were 12 people in my group. The oldest was a Korean vet that's 91 years old. I sat and talked to him for a while. He was super cool.
Oh, shit, that is cool.
And they call you up one by one and they present you with your quilt and they give you this neat little chat, you know, about what it's all about and what Quilts of Valor is and when it started. And apparently is the mother of a soldier that was deployed back in 2003.
Okay.
She made a quilt for her son and then found out that other deployed soldiers thought it was cool and would like one. And then she ran with it. And they wrap your quilt around you like a little hug, and they tell you welcome home, and they thank you for your service, and then yeah, and so it's yours to take home forever. And then they tell you it's not to be hung up. I just hung mine up for the show. They said it's to be used, it's to keep you warm, it's to help you when you're battling your bad nights or having your good days or whatever. And they put a little patch on the inside of the corner, and it has your name, and it says thank you for your service. And mine is a little extra special, and I blame it on my last name because they do it alphabetical.
Mm-hmm.
And mine was the 400,000th quilt of valor that they have made to date.
That's awesome.
So I have a special extra little thing in there that says commemorative quilt number 400,000. So yay!
That's
so
pretty...
This is my quilt, and each one is different. And volunteers give up their time to make them, and none are alike. And you can't really see, but if you were to look real close, one of these it has little combat boots and little dog tags, and they're all very, very patriotic. And it was pretty cool. You get to meet new and different vets that maybe you've never met before, and you get to meet the volunteers. I actually got to meet the lady who did my quilt. She happened to be there that day.
That's
so
awesome.
Pretty cool.
I had
a good time.
That was the other question I was going to ask is if they, I mean, I realized that they have a deal, and I knew I was cheating because you showed me the little tag that they had that had your name in it and everything. But I didn't know, like, if they just have like a big warehouse, like people are like making the quilts, they send them, obviously they don't have 1,000 quilters in a Chinese sweatshop making these quilters. They're made by, made by volunteers, and I'm sure they send them to a central location and they disseminate them. So I didn't know if it was like,
well, no, it's not even that. So each little area that has their Quilt of Valor group. So like the one that did mine was Military City number 559.
Okay.
And their volunteers come together at whatever designated spot, and certain people make the quilt top, and then other people make the batting, and sew the whole thing together. So it's like a big group thing, and they do it. They'll meet up like 2 or 3 or 4 times, and so they'll pick so many to make at a time, and then they go forward with that. So they're just kind of made as they get the nominations in.
That's awesome. That is actually way cooler than what I thought. They were just like, and I'm not saying like, that's not patriotic to say my wife. For our anniversary, I bought her a new sewing machine, and our local church, like, the church that we're a part of, they have a quilting group, and a lot of churches do. The little old ladies get together on like a Tuesday, and they get some coffee and some donuts, and they sit around and they quilt some stuff, and then for Christmas they sell those quilts to raise money for the church and for youth activities, whatever. Yeah. So I figured it was something kind of along those lines. Somebody like my wife would be like, you know what? Hey, I'm patriotic. I love the vets. I want to do something nice. What can I do to give back? Oh, hey, can you make a couple quilts? Can you donate your time for a couple quilts? And blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they send them
That's exactly what this is.
But it's not like they don't send it to like Quilts of Valor out of DC, and then DC is like, oh, hey, I got these people in Texas or Idaho or some shit. It's actually, that was made by some little old lady down the street who is like, hey, TeeZee, you're awesome. And that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because they had like 8 or 10 of the volunteers there. And like 5 or 6 of them were the ladies who actually do the quilting.
That is
and
super
they
cool.
even said, if you know anybody local that quilts or likes to quilt and would like to volunteer their time, we're always looking for more people to come in and help. And this number 559 Military City, they actually meet in Cibolo, which is right between New Braunfels and San Antonio.
Nice.
And so, yeah, they have a group that meet, I guess, every once in a while, and they work on quilts, and that's what they do. That's their thing.
We didn't say hi to our audience. I haven't met yet.
Well, that's because my beautiful quilt distracted us.
I'm going to say this because sometimes when something's patriotic, it can be overdone. You know what I mean? And I don't think that's overdone at all. It's very patriotic, but it's like still kind of subtle. It's nice. It appears to be a nice quilt, and that's awesome. It's not just like, I don't know, wrap yourself in like the Trumpy bear flag or some shit. You know what I mean? It's super cool. It's something that you can use and keep with. Yeah. So, but Corey's here. Thanks, Corey.
And they give you like a little certificate. Oh, hey. So they give you a little certificate too, and then they give you directions on how to wash it.
Okay.
Which is super cool because a lot of these people, they're like, how do I, if I do use it, what do I do with it? And they give you like instruction. They're really cool. And they give you like, reach out to us if you ever have a problem. If it gets a tear or something in it, let us know. You know, we
That's
can get
cool.
one of the ladies to repair it. So everybody's super cool.
That's
It was
cool.
really neat.
That is cool. Well, Ellen's here. Ellen says we remind her to enjoy life. That's awesome. That's why we're here, Ellen.
Aw.
I'm happy. I mean, I hope you enjoy it, even if we're not on. So, but I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you.
And Quinn and Chad and we got Heath. Some new guy named Heath. He's here or something.
Somebody I don't think I've ever heard of him.
Yeah, Captain Wayne Baconegger's here. He had he had some struggles a couple weeks ago, so I'm glad he's here. I'm glad you're here, buddy. Thanks for being here.
Sorry to hear that, man, but yeah, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah. No, you missed a lot while you were gone. Basically just soccer. So
you didn't miss anything in my life. It was just work and chaos. So there you go.
It's been pretty.
I did get a really cool gift. You want to see the really cool gift I got while I was off air?
Yes, we love cool gifts. What else did you get?
Okay, it's a little inappropriate, but
it's not inappropriate here. Oh dang, that's awesome.
And look, he's got balls. And he glows in the dark.
That's awesome.
Isn't that? It's my Caucasaurus Rex.
Hold on. Let me see. I'm trying to find just your feed so you can. There it is. All right, hold on.
Oh, you wanna?
Yeah.
So I can put him. I
want to make it. I want to make you big. Yep. There you go. Now you're big.
Here he is, guys.
Is it 3D printed or what? What is that?
Yeah. My daughter's got a friend who has a 3D printer. And I had one of these a long time ago that someone gave me, and it was teeny tiny. It was about that big.
Okay.
And one of my dogs chewed it up. And so she called her buddy, and he made this for me. Isn't it great?
That's
and he glows
amazing.
in the dark.
That's glows in the dark, even so you don't lose it.
Yeah. Because I don't know if anybody on here knows or remembers how I've talked about in the past that me and a very good friend of mine have a really weird obsession with penises. We always send each other weird stuff.
It's not just the
it's not just us. It's everybody.
So
I have a pet rock that's got a penis on it and all kinds of stuff. And so, yeah.
I actually, that's kind of the reason I was late. I had a CMP exam today for my post-op for my knee. And
how'd that go?
It was fine. The dude, so it's there's 3 doctors in Rapid and they do CMP exams, and dude has a silver star. And he's fucking cool as shit. And he's
awesome.
He was a Marine Corps medic, and then he went to med school when when he got out and everything. And we were talking about like all the stuff with my knee, and he's like, yeah, it's pretty cut and dried. You'll probably do this, and do you have painful motion? I'm like, I sure do. He's like, all right, cool. And he's like collecting all the stuff. And then we started talking about like, he's like, yeah, it's weird. He's like, do you have your paperwork from your knee replacement? And he's like, do you know if it's uploaded? I'm like, well, I uploaded it for the temporary 100 and to get this. And he's like, okay, cool. You should be good. He goes, you'd be surprised. He's like, you can sit here with this giant scar and I can very obviously tell you had a knee replacement. He goes, but if you came in and said you are an MST survivor, all you have to do is like, I don't want to talk about it. And you automatically get 70%. I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm an MST survivor. What's up?
Ha ha ha.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, like,
yeah, it's sad. It's sad. They want to see the scars for everything else.
Yep, but I mean, and that's good. It's good that they're helping out MST survivors, which I think that's a wonderful thing. But I mean,
it shouldn't be that easy. I mean,
no,
no offense,
because
you're right.
Well, and I got 50. I got 50. I'll go with me. Oh yeah, Corman. Sorry, whatever. He was in the Navy. Doesn't count. Anyway,
Phil. Phil's
but
gatekeeping tonight.
Whatever. He's got a silver star, so he's fine. What am I to say anything? Anyway.
Yeah.
And back to the story. When I got my PTSD diagnosis, whatever evaluation, you have to answer 1 million questions, and you take all these fucking tests, and then try to stand on your hands, and then like while you have a dog sniffing your butthole. I don't know. It was fucking crazy to get 50% for that. But then I mean, if I don't know that, I'd be like, yeah. I mean, anybody who's spent time in the Marine Corps,
you do have to ask. They do ask you a lot of questions.
They do, and I understand like
it's very comparable. some men may not understand it as well as others. There's a lot of stuff that we prefer not to talk about.
Oh,
And
I understand.
It comes out, but
And
they
that's
do
something.
ask a lot of questions.
Well, and I would say hopefully that, and for two reasons. One, to help kind of verify that it is a true thing. But for two, if you are in a situation where you are claiming that as a VA disability, you should also be seeking help for it. So if you had a military sexual trauma event or several or whatever, and that is something that, same with PTSD, you should be seeking help for that. You should be seeking help for all of the things. You know, if you have a bum knee, you should, get surgery or physical therapy. You know, there's a problem with things, and then there's a treatment for that problem. Like, and yeah, compensation's great. Don't get me wrong, but you should also be seeking help for those issues. And I think
you shouldn't be able to just go in and be like, I had MST, or I feel like I have MST, or blah, blah, blah. So just give me my money and not have any follow-up. No.
Right.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I see my every 3 months. It used to be every month. And then now I just go see my mental health docs once every 3 months.
I've been actually seeing, they have me back on once a week. But I kind of had I had a little bit of I had some issues there for a little bit, and
oh yeah, I feel you.
And so it they're like, you should probably talk to somebody more than once a month or whatever. Because I was seeing the dude like once a month. He's like, you should talk to this gal more than that. And it's been fun, and fun. It's as fun as
that can be.
Yes, it's as fun as having a woman talk me off the ledge for an hour every week.
Well, I think with the MST, it's kind of the same. It's patient led. They don't want to push you to talk to somebody every week. If you say no, I'm not comfortable, I'm good with once every 3 months. But if I hit a rough spot or rough patch, they're always like, if you need more appointments, you come to us. Or if they strongly feel that I'm really, really struggling. I've had my doc call me before and be like, hey, we're going to bump your appointments up.
Yeah.
We want you to come in more than once every 3 months. And about a year ago, that happened. About a year ago, I was struggling hard, and I was going like I was doing TELUS stuff, which is, fine. It's my doc. I've been seeing her for 13 years, the same one. And
let's see.
Yeah.
Deanne said is it IVET program or LVET program? The VA is amazing and has greatly helped me. That's awesome. I love hearing that. I know the VA gets a lot of shit, and I give the VA shit.
Oh,
right?
Everybody does.
And I'll say this till I'm blue in the face, that everyone's experience with the VA varies, right?
Yes.
My VA here is really good. IVET. Okay. Anyway, but okay. I know, okay, I went to PT yesterday, okay? And since they fixed my knee, my back has been all wonky and painful, right? My lower back is killing me. My hip is killing me. So they call me and they're like, hey, next week, can we schedule for an MRI on Tuesday? Fuck yeah, that's awesome. Like that that type of turnaround's great. And I'm lucky that my VA is amazing for that, where I know some people have to wait for months to get seen through the VA. Yeah. They have to wait for 3, 4, 5, 6 months to be seen by primary care, let alone a specialist. So I understand that, my experience with the VA is different. And so when I hear Deanne say something like, hey, this IVET program is great, it helped me, that's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. I'm happy to see veterans getting the help that they deserve. Not even that they want, that they fucking deserve, that they've earned and deserved. And I think that's why I've been getting so pissed off at these huge cuts to the federal government. And I'll say something in the face. The federal government's fucked, right?
Has been for a while.
Yeah, there's fraud, waste, and abuse everywhere in federal government. But I think we're cutting the wrong stuff, and I don't think that we should be taking thousands of people from the VA. I mean, we fought for years.
Just got to a point. 5 years ago, it took me 6 months to get seen.
Yep.
For a rotator cuff tear. 5 years ago, it's taken 5 years for my local VA to be at a point where now, if I called today, I've got an appointment by next week.
Yep.
But it took 5 years.
Yep.
Not to mention, they used to be my local clinic used to be a a closet. I swear it was the tiniest. And we shared it with a rural health clinic for the county.
Yep.
So we didn't even have our own space.
Yep.
And now we have a huge new space. We have our own PT here in New Braunfels. We have our own lab. We have so much stuff that 5 years ago we didn't have.
Ooh.
And now they want to make cuts on stuff when we've just getting to a point where it's like,
Yep.
hey, they're on top of stuff. What the hell are y'all thinking, taking money away from us and people away from us?
Right. Exactly. And I feel like in the $1 trillion budget we have, the VA nurse that makes fucking $36,000 a year isn't the financial problem.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, not when we're giving billions of dollars to oil companies who are already making billions of dollars in profits. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of stuff. You want to save $20 billion? Fucking don't give money to ExxonMobil. You know what I mean?
They have plenty of their own damn money. They don't need
and you can
more.
take a small percentage of that and more than fund the VA for the next several years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because vets are always going to be there. The military is not going away.
Yeah.
It's a revolving door of people going in and getting out. So it makes zero sense to be cutting off.
Rango says these cuts are sending the VA back 10 years, if not more, buddy. I really believe that.
Oh,
Easy
peasy.
Yep. Quinn says his VA experience was mostly positive. The COVID nightmare was the biggest hiccup. I think that that statement there is probably one of the most accurate statements about VA healthcare, at least in my experience as well. But this is the thing with COVID is nobody knew. COVID was such a wrench in everybody's system, and we're still feeling the effects
it wasn't just the
of
VA.
that.
It was local civilian doctors even that had to deal with that. It was everybody.
And I don't know that anybody really handled it right. You know what I mean? Some people handled it overcautiously, some undercautiously, some just more effective than others. But there was never like a, you know what, everyone should have did it like this hospital or the VA or whatever. Now, what I will say about the VA is even in those facilities where the wait times are extended, where the people don't get the help that they want or need, I still feel like the people there's bad apples everywhere. Let me preface it with that. But I still feel like you go somewhere from what my experience has been, the more rural areas have a better experience with the VA than the more suburban area or the more populated areas, right? Somewhere like the Dallas VA gets way and it's, just a numbers game. There's way more veterans, there's way more homeless veterans and disabled veterans in somewhere like Dallas, Texas than there is in Sturgis, South Dakota. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, it is harder, but I still think the people in those facilities that are understaffed and undermanned and, takes a long time to get seen, they still care. Yeah. Right? They're still there and helping and want to be helpful. Then, it's not just I would much rather wait 2 months to get an X-ray or MRI and have people there who genuinely care than get it done tomorrow by a bunch of people who don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And there's
through like a little, processing belt. You're just going. And they just are like, yeah, here's your thing. Yeah. Bye. Whatever.
Yep.
Because then we'll be back to them handing out pills left and right. Like they did while we were in active duty. And we don't want
still
that.
fucking do that. I just get bags of pills, man. Those things are ridiculous. But I will say this, and this is all I don't want to harp on the VA too much anymore tonight. Cause I'm when we're going through all this, and we can see what needs to be done, right? Us as veterans, we can look at places like the VA and be like, you know what? Hey, my VA is good, or this VA sucks, or my VA is good except for X, Y, or Z. We also need to make those types. The one thing that I've noticed the last couple years when it comes to the federal government is that the squeaky wheel is getting the grease.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that we need to keep our politicians accountable for that. No matter if you have a Democratic or a Republican senator, I don't give a shit who it is. You need to say words to them, send them emails and say, you know what? My VA is understaffed. My VA is lacking an orthopedic surgeon. My VA does not have specialty clinics. My VA does not have X, Y, or Z. The VA that I go to that's in Sturgis, or the VA that I go to that's in Sioux Falls, or the VA I go to that's in Dallas or Denver or whatever, Like
Mhm.
those need to be, you need to let your lawmakers know at the state level and at the federal level that your
Mhm.
VA is lacking whatever it's lacking. They need to
Yeah,
hear,
because us just talking about it to each other doesn't do anything.
right. But in that same breath, we need to say words about not just VHA, but VBA and say, hey,
Mhm.
why is it taking fucking 17 months to clear these claims? Why is it taking 6 months to get back pay for this? Why is it take we need to say that. And if
Yeah.
they don't I don't know what people know and what they don't know. Right? Because you look at you watch the hearings. Like they'll bring in the head of the Department of Veteran Affairs and he'll sit there and blow smoke up his ass. And okay, well, hey, what about this problem? What about the veteran suicide problem? Oh, it's doing great. And then they cut the Veterans Crisis Hotline. Well, what's that?
Yeah.
What's that helping? How many veterans are you helping by cutting these programs? How many? We have these programs that are finally starting to work. Why are we cutting them? Right?
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't disagree that there's probably fat to be cut from the VA budget. I'm not saying there's not,
Mhm.
but we need to go in there with a scalpel, not a chainsaw. And I think that's the problem that we're running into with departments of like the VA and the FAA and Department of Homeland Security, or you name the department. Like there's fat to be trimmed in all those. I don't think there's not.
Oh, for sure.
But I still think that we're looking in the wrong places. I think the Department of Defense needs looked into. Like the people that run the fucking DFACs, they need fucking looked into. Right? Fucking shit like that. The people who are running fucking housing, they need looked into.
Oh, yeah.
Because those are the fucking actual problems that this administration can fix. And like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Trump. I was not a fan of Biden, and I wasn't a fan of Harris. I'm not trying to make this a political thing. I'm trying to make this a military thing. Right?
Yeah.
And when we, as veterans or as active duty service members, have these problems, we always just kind of seem to suck it up and get put on the back burner. Right?
Because that's what we were taught when we were in training.
Yep, exactly. Suck it up and deal with it. But if we were to actually come together as a group and make and that's the great thing, and no matter what people think about the VFW or the American Legion or the DAV or the Purple Heart, the Association of Purple Heart, Marine Corps League, you name the veteran group, right? They are trying to be a mouthpiece for us, 100%. Right? But it's one thing to hear from a VFW staffer or someone that up in that organization, a lobbyist from the VFW, than it is to hear from constituents. Is to send an email to your senator or representative in the House to say, hey, sir or ma'am, look at this problem. What can you do? What can we do to fix this problem? This is a real life issue. What can we do to fix it? I have this idea to fix it. Why don't you try doing that? Or talk to your people about doing that. And not turning it into a hate thing, not turning it into an attack, but turning it into a way where we can come together and like fix these issues. Because if they don't know there's a problem, they're not going to try to fix it. Or everyone knows the VA is fucked. Whether you're on Capitol Hill or whether you're in a fucking chair in your basement, the VA is kind of fucked, right? And it needs help in certain areas. But maybe they don't know where or why or how. Or we'll go back to the Veterans Crisis line that's been canceled, right? Maybe they don't see the value in that, and maybe and I'll go back. Maybe they spend $2 million a year on this Veterans Crisis line, and it's only helped 3 fucking veterans, and they don't see, and maybe that is the problem, right? But then it needs to be communicated back to us. Hey, we've only had 3 calls into this hotline, and it's fully staffed. We have all these issues. We have all this money going to it, and it's not actually helping anybody. We want to redirect those funds to help more veterans by doing more orthopedic care, or we're buying new hearing aids for you, whatever the fuck it is, right? But that transparency isn't there. And I think that's where the problem really therein lies, is we don't have that transparency. And we want to, we look at, Holly said there has to be more corruption within the VA, that the money was going somewhere and it wasn't to the vets' care. I don't, like I said, I don't know percentage wise what's missing and what's not, but I don't feel One, I don't feel like anyone in the VA is paid enough. That's a big problem. When you look at, they want to get an orthopedic surgeon, right? The VA here wants to get orthopedic surgeons, and they're short on some and this, that, and the other, right? Well, they're trying to find orthopedic surgeons to pay it. Their starting pay is like $73,000 a year. Why the fuck are they going to do that when they can make $600,000 out in town? You know what I mean? And there is certain things to that, but if that's the hiring process and that's why the fuck would I do? You have to look at things in like these type of ways. And I feel like, and this is me, I feel like inflation has outpaced the pay growth, especially in places like the Veterans Administration, federal jobs, right? So there are problems with that. And like I said, and I think Holly is honest, I think that there is money wasted, 100%. But is it wasted or just is it not spent wisely? And those are two different things, right?
Yeah,
it's not
for sure
like
they are.
it's not just going in someone's pocket to be like, oh well, hey, we got this fucking da 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 da. It's maybe we're not doing this program. Maybe this program needs revamped, or maybe hey, maybe this program something. Hey, maybe we need to hire more VSRs so we get claims processed faster, or maybe we need to revamp the 38 CFR so claims can be more expedited to where it's not such a gray area, that it's more specific, that if you have X, Y, or Z, you get this percentage. And it is true. They've been doing that with the 38 CFR. They have gone through just for my knee today. I just looked it up before I left, so I wanted to make sure it was correct, right? So the diagnostic code for that, it says pretty clearly, if you have like severe pain or weakness, you get 60%. If you don't, you had a knee replacement, you get 30%. 30% is the minimum. That's what you get. All right, tight. Go. Bye. See ya. It's very clearly written, and they're going through. And some of them they've clarified. Some of them needed clarification, and they're going through those. And that's something that they need to do. But it's do we need to expedite this process? We need to look into these things. And like I said, if you don't have an audit system there, an accurate audit system, they don't know. And I feel like that's one of the things, and this is for every organization, but we're picking on the VA, but I feel like the oversight isn't there. I feel like
there's no accountability at a supervisory level.
Yep. Sure. Absolutely. Let's see, the VA is short on every type of doctor. They definitely don't get paid enough. Absolutely one. Yep. Somebody has been getting paid. It's been every agency so far. The vets have notoriously been shit on it, stolen. Yeah, Holly. I don't know. I don't want to turn it into a politicized thing. I think that as the dust is settling on some of these, we're finding out that not as much money has been actually stolen. It's just kind of been unaccounted for, and there's a difference. Money that's unaccounted for is there. It's just not being used correctly, right? Money being stolen is a different situation. And so far, I'm not saying there's been zero evidence of it, but the majority of the funding is not being stolen. It's being misappropriated or put in the wrong spots. And that's where it takes somebody who is an actual accountant to sit down and go through these things. And there's a lot. But
and it's very tedious, and they have to go line by line. This isn't something that you're going to figure out in a day.
No,
this is stuff that's going to take a year.
Then it's years, probably more. And this is the problem for so many years. It's just been allowed to run amok, right?
Yeah.
And not just the last 4, the last 25.
Yeah.
And basically, since the war on terror started, they were just fucking cutting checks and fucking sending money out to whoever was there. And now we're finally being like, 25 years later, be like, shit, maybe we should have fucking paid attention to where all this money went.
Well, and now that the op tempo is slowed and we're not at an active war and we're not sending our people over the place, and we've got so many more vets because the number of people that got out because of injuries or illnesses or whatever after all that stopped, they're finally like, oh shit, we're still writing these same checks. There's still the same money is going out, but we're not getting any kind of comeback from it.
Yep.
So what the hell is going on?
Right. Well,
this should have been done years ago.
Right. Absolutely. And like Phil said, the VA needs an audit bad. Absolutely. I think just about every corner of the government needs an audit bad.
I was going to say every government entity at this point needs
Right.
an audit.
And I think that's a bipartisan thing. I don't think you're going to find even if you go to someone like a Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is all about taking all the fucking money he can and distributing it out. 100%. I understand that. But I think even
But he still wants to know where it's going, and
Yes.
he still wants accountability for it.
exactly. And I think that is where we are lacking. Now,
Yeah.
I think we've gone too far the other way, and now we're just randomly cutting. Right?
Yeah.
And I
Not
think
enough background, not doing enough investigating, not doing enough auditing. Instead, they're just going, oh, look, there's this certain amount of money and it's really, really big and we don't know where it's at. So guess what we're going to do? We're just going to get rid of it.
we're going to cut it. And
that's wrong. That's
right.
not the
well,
right
and,
answer.
and like I said, when you look at, if you want to save large swaths of money, they're going after things like the NOAA, right? The National Oceanographic Society. Hey, their budget is nothing compared to the DoD. Their budget is nothing compared to Department of Energy. Their budget is nothing compared. You know what I mean? Why are we firing the people who look for hurricanes? Like, we don't need to fucking keep them. We need them.
Why are we firing air traffic controllers?
Right, that's where I was going next. They have probably one of the most stressful and hardest jobs in the world, and we're like, nah, fucking fire them. No.
Yeah.
No,
I don't. I gotta fly tomorrow, people. Tomorrow, I'm getting on an airplane tomorrow afternoon at 11 something.
Yep.
I want air traffic controllers, people.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I don't want my plane upside down on the runway, nor do I want it, nearly missing another airplane because we don't have enough air traffic controllers to know where all the planes are at. Fuck that.
Well, and Bronco says the forensic audit is what's needed. Absolutely. Yep. A forensic, and there are people who do that.
Yeah.
There are
lots of people.
And that's who we need to hire, not big balls.
No, and definitely not somebody. Well, I got issues with that man for other reasons, but we don't need the people that are in charge of it now in charge of it.
Right.
I'm sorry.
And
they have no experience. They have no knowledge. It is not their job. It is not what they're known for.
Well,
it's not what they're trained for.
And here's the thing, and I'll play devil's advocate for that. They are very good at what they do. They don't.
But this is not what they do.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's see. And I think this is Coach. The sports bar said they should also audit CIF and range control. Far too many working there that have 5 terrible answers to Elon's meals. Yes, and well, and Deanne said that firing all those IRS agents during tax season. And see, and I agree with part of that statement because they hired a bunch of IRS agents, and I don't know why they hired so many IRS agents. And I know part of it was, through COVID, they had a bunch with all the stimmy checks and everything going out. They needed people, some checks and balances in there. Because I will tell you right now, that I know of 4 people who got duplicate stimulus checks for one reason or other. One of them, they got a stimulus check for their dead mom.
Oh, nice.
There was another person who got like an extra stimulus check because the year before they were married and now they were divorced. So they got their one from the 1 year, and then the year before they got another one. With the number of people that I know, if I could know for sure of 4 people, I bet that whole program, the stimmy check program, and that started under our now president and the current and the previous president. That whole situation was fucked up, and that's why they brought in the extra IRS agents to try to fix some of that and try to prevent.
Yeah.
When they were literally fucking flying checks out the mail as fast as they could.
Oh yeah.
And I'll go back and say in defense of the Trump administration, in defense of the Biden administration, they were getting hounded to provide those stimulus checks, and I understand that. And in their haste to help the many, there was some mistakes. Definitely. And that's the thing. They're mistakes. It's not nefarious. It wasn't a robbery. It was a mistake.
Yeah, nobody intentionally did it. They were just doing the best they could at the time with what they had.
I promise you, my buddy with the dead mom didn't fucking try to get a check for his dead mom. You know what I mean?
It just came.
It just showed up. And what do you do with a $5,000 check that shows up in your fucking bank account? You just spend it.
Yeah, especially when it comes from the government.
Yep. And so and that's the thing though. We need to like, everyone just gets all up in a frenzy on both sides of the aisle about this stuff without ever taking a step back and looking at things through a what do you want to call it? Like a neutral stance.
Yeah, because everybody always wants to go to the right or the left. Nobody can seem to just stand right in the middle and be neutral about it. Maybe we need to call Switzerland in. Maybe we need to make a call, and Switzerland needs to come over here, and help us.
Yep. Phil said the problem with the FAA is that you're only allowed to be an air traffic controller until you're 31. They need to change that. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, just because you're not 31 I know some younger kids that are pretty goddamn smart and could do that freaking job.
Yep. The city-states are abusing the federal budget in unstated ways. Newburgh, New York has relied upon the West Point Fire Department for mutual aid due to not having adequate manning and the area volunteers being overstretched to aid that city. Yep. That fire departments, I think, and this is so weird to me, okay? In just about every municipality that I've lived in and given a shit enough to pay attention, the fire department is always like underfunded. You know what I mean?
Always.
The fire department is like always, and I think that the police departments, at least around me, or that I've had knowledge of, have done better because of their grant writing and getting stuff to fight fentanyl or whatever. There's it seems like there's always money for police departments to fight drugs or to, have another methamphetamine course or to whatever. And I'm not saying that's unimportant. I'm not saying they shouldn't have that. But you should also have money for fire departments to put out fucking fires. And people always give firefighters shit about, well, they don't fucking do nothing. Yeah, until there's a fucking fire. And then they're there for 24 hours straight putting the fucking fire out. And in a place like, in an area like mine where there's 6 fires a year, there's one every 2 months. But you don't want to not have them when they're around. You know what I mean? So you're going to pay them. So you're going to pay them to sit in the fucking fire department sometimes and do nothing but wait for a call. And you're going to pay them to do things like go to the elementary school with someone dressed like a fucking dog and hand out little plastic hats. You're going to do those things to keep them busy. But because when you need them, you don't want to try to find them. You want them to fucking be there. And I think that's what pisses me off about some of this, like, oh, we need to fucking funding. Why are you trying to cut funding to schools? Why are you trying to cut funding to fire departments? Why are you trying to cut funding to the post office? Why are you trying to cut funding to fucking police departments? They are not supposed to make money.
No, they're not there to make a bunch of money.
Yep. Nope.
No, by the way, I am not flying out of DFW. I'm flying out of San Antonio. I'm only 20 minutes from the San Antonio airport. James. And I'm not even connecting through Dallas this time. Usually I always connect through Dallas, but not this time.
Hold on. Insomniac James says, didn't they lose $2 trillion back in 2002? And then they said they can't find it because of paying crash and paying. Who lost $2 trillion? The DOD? That wouldn't surprise me, actually. The DOD lost $2 trillion.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me either.
Yeah. You didn't miss too much, Captain Wayne. We're just, I don't know, trying to figure out why
we're
the
just
VA.
Shooting the shit, yo.
Yeah, we're just trying to get more money for the VA so that way they can fucking process our claims and take care of our medical problems. Most people don't understand. This is from Quinn. He said most people don't understand that federal firefighters are also running EMS as well. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, and I think that's good. I think it's good for them to multitask a little bit. Like I said, I want fire. If there's ever a fire at my house, or at my friend's house, or at my kid's school, or at the fucking college across the street, or at the wood burning plant or some shit, right? I want there to be firefighters there to put it out. I want them to be on call, not on call. I want them to be in the station. So that way when the fucking bell rings, they hop in the truck. Because oftentimes in those emergency situations, seconds matter. Minutes matter.
Oh, for sure. You can't have like these rural areas like here in where I'm at. Just out a little bit outside of New Braunfels, there's some smaller cities, like that are even 20, 30 minutes away, and they only have an all volunteer fire department.
Right.
So it's like, okay, if New Braunfels can't get there for 20 minutes and your all volunteer fire department is sitting at home on call, it may take them 5 minutes to get to the station, 10 minutes to get to the station. And then that's going to be another 20 minutes too. So why just have all volunteer? If nobody's going to get there for 20 minutes, it's not going to matter either way. It's all going to be burned down.
Right. Yeah.
I
Then
mean,
you
there
just go in there,
needs to
just
be
go up there
more.
and sweep up the ashes and call it fucking good. No, and see,
Right?
and I agree with that. I agree with you on that. And I'll, like I said, I'll continue to kind of play devil's advocate here a little bit on that, because it is hard to spend that kind of money in a municipality that doesn't make a bunch, right? When especially when you look at some of those smaller towns. Okay, my town, I'm going to go back to my city, the town I live in. It's called Spearfish, okay? 10 years, not even 10 years ago, about 7 or 8 years ago, our fire department went from volunteer to paid positions, right?
Mhm.
Professional, any of the professional firefighters.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some law, and I don't know if it's a federal law or a state law. I'm not sure. I'm lying to say it either way. But if a town has a population of over 10,000 people, they have to have a professional firefighting department.
Okay.
And I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's state law or if it's federal law. But they have to. If you have X amount of people, you have to have a professional fire department. And I think it's 10,001, at least in our town. Okay, so 2012 ish.
Mm-hmm. Y'all hit that number.
We hit that number, and they're like, all right, we need a professional fire department. It took about a year to get one in place, right? They hired a bunch of the volunteers, and then they bought some new equipment, and they built a new firehouse, all of these things, right, to get it to where it's professional now. And that was a big step, and it was expensive to do that, to buy new trucks and to provide, that. But there was a fire that we have a lumber mill here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And in that lumber mill, they take all of the sawdust and they turn it into pellets for like heating. Not like, it's kind of like the pellets for a pellet grill, but they're just pine, and you put them in like the pellet stoves to heat your home. Okay.
Okay.
About twice a year that catches on fire. Because it's full of sawdust. It's full of like, there's a fire there. Like I said, twice a year there's a fire there, average, give or take. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so their response time when they were a volunteer was approximately 30 minutes. I think the average response time was like 27 minutes or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's down to less than 10.
Yeah.
So,
which is great.
I mean, when you think about how much fire, especially in an environment like that that's full of dust and sawdust, and it's stuff that's made to burn.
Mm-hmm.
If you can be there in less than 10 minutes compared to 30 minutes, how much less damage is done in that time?
Yeah.
And when you think, like, if that's my house, if I lose my garage, sucks, but it's better than lose my whole house and all my portraits and all my little planes and all my fucking
little planes,
all my fucking butt plugs in my deal or whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever it is.
Yeah.
I want that stuff, and so I'll gladly pay a little bit more of my property taxes to have those people. Same with the teachers. I will gladly pay property taxes to make sure that my kids get a decent education. And when I'm done, that the next generation of kids gets a decent education, because I don't want idiot kids. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, because then idiot kids grow up to be idiot adults, and then idiot adults end up running countries.
Yeah.
Oh, did I just say that?
I think so. So Captain Wayne says he's in Kansas City, Missouri. Half of firefighters are EMS trained well, and many of them are veterans. Yeah, and I think that's another thing too. And we look at, and I think that's kind of been a sore spot for me on the federal workforce firings and the attacks on police departments and federal and service jobs like that. Those professional services, the majority of them are veterans. I think that there is something that coincides with somebody who will volunteer to go in the military and that sense of duty to serve. Like when I look back on my career, right? Since I was 16, my first job was a lifeguard. Then I went in the Marine Corps, right? And then I turned around and, I did everything else. And then I've worked to help veterans. I've done jobs. I've done jobs that are growing pot too. You know what I mean? But the majority of the time,
that helps veterans.
The majority of the time that I have been at work and had a career or a job, I've worked for the federal or local government in some way, shape, or form in the last 30 years I've had a job, probably about 25 of them have been either in the military or working for like county or local government. So a lot of people that I know are the same way. Deanne just said, yes, we choose to live a life of service. Absolutely. And I think that's just something that's in us. You know what I mean? And it's not just and even a lot of people, if they don't do that kind of job, they do it
They do something on the side.
Yep. They
volunteer-wise.
Yep. They volunteer for the fucking soccer board, or they volunteer to work at the, to do the be an active member of the VFW or Legion, or they, run the fucking bingo at the old folks home. Yep. Do something like we're doing. Absolutely. And so that's just a life of service that it's a sense of duty that we have, I think, as veterans, and that continues on after our time in uniform. And I think
you're right.
And that maybe that's not the case for everybody, but and I wonder how many people, the people that, are firefighters or policemen or first responders of some kind, people who are a service minded, right? That aren't in the military. I wonder if they would have or could have, or you know what I mean?
Well, my uncle is kind of an example. He wanted to go into the Marines. He didn't get offered what he wanted. So instead he went to the police academy, and he's been a police officer for 30 something, 40 something, going on 40 years now. But originally he had talked about joining the military. Yep. And then didn't, and whatever. And then my other family members who had spouses that were military, my aunts, all of them worked around some type of a service job. Yep. They were either medical, or they were working for the VA, or working for a military base or something. So it's, I believe that. Yep. Even my mom's job, it was all in service of people. Yep. She didn't work for the government, but she always did service jobs, and she was a military child.
Yep. Phil said,
I use it with my kids.
Phil said, don't burn pine. It has creosote in it. That's how people get chimney fires. But if you get the pellets, that's why that place catches on fire so much. That's why that place catches fire so much, is because they get that out of it. They
oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
They work on it. Did he catch his house on fire? Is that why you're laughing?
Phil?
Yeah.
No, I don't know, Phil. Phil, have you ever caught your house on fire? It wouldn't surprise me.
Captain Wayne
You're the one that I know about catching things on fire.
I just catch like dogs and fields and chairs and stuff. Yeah, I don't catch houses on fire. That's too much.
Bushes, chairs,
Captain Wayne says,
you could have caught that house on fire.
Maybe. Well, it was outside. It was fine. Captain Wayne said he just had some super stanky dankness. Hopefully you sleep more than 4 hours. Yeah, absolutely, buddy.
I need some of that, because I have been sleeping horrible lately.
I got these.
I need to get something.
They're called Not Your Granny's caramels. And they're like 27 milligrams, and they are amazing. They're just the right amount that I can eat a caramel about an hour before I want to go to bed, and then I pass the fuck out.
Well, my dumb butt ate a gummy the other night and didn't realize it was like 350 milligrams.
Oh, dang!
So I was up till like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, I know. I had some ones.
Higher than the kite.
I had some ones. I got the wrong ones. I got that's why I went to the caramels, because they only have one kind of caramel. It's fine. But I had I had chocolates, and the chocolates were fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But they had like a bad batch. And so, I mean, they weren't bad, but they were, instead of being like 12 milligrams, they were like 200.
Oh,
and yeah, and those were like live rosin. So like I kind of, I was like forgetting how to breathe. Like they were kind of touch and go for me. Those things were fucking, oof.
Yike.
Those ones were a little bit on the.
Yeah,
on the
I've
rough
accidentally
side.
Dosed myself a couple times. I've been like, wait a minute, how much was that again? And then I go back and I look at the baggie, and I'm like, oh damn, I probably should have only eaten like a quarter of that. My bad. And then I'm up until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yep. Captain Wayne says, eat a handful.
My children who live in my house with me would just annihilate me if I ate a whole handful. They'd be like, "Mother, you know better." They hate when I take anything more than like 20 milligrams.
Yeah.
They get so mad. They're like, you ate all the chocolate cake. My bad.
Right. I ate all the fucking brownies or some shit. Quinn said most VS veteran service organizations, VFW, American Legion, etc., generally only have 10% of membership actively involved. Huh. That's a very interesting, like,
Wow.
fact.
I don't know, maybe because I'm in a smaller town. I mean, there's a lot of veterans here in New Braunfels involved in stuff. I mean, they're either in, but a lot of them are younger. The older guys aren't really into anything. They just want to go to the VFW and sit down and have some beers and smoke their cigarettes indoors because it's the only place that like still lets you or something. And
Really?
it's the younger guys. They're all about, IW and getting together every Friday morning and having coffee and shooting the shit and then doing a Thursday evening thing, going on a hike or whatever. But I think it's maybe the age difference.
Possibly. I think here, my friends, I have, a handful of good buddies that are all veterans and whatnot. The majority of them, I think I'm the only one of my like little friend group that has a life membership to the VFW. The other guys, and they're in like, I mean, they do, there's like 3 of them that are in like some motorcycle gang that's all veterans, not like combat vets.
One of those MCs.
Yep. And they do a lot. I'm not saying they don't. They have done a lot of the same things. Like they do like fundraising for like different veterans organizations, and they donate so much money to the Marine Corps League so they can do a Marine Corps ball out here every year. And then they do some,
they do that here too. Yeah.
They donate to like the Veterans Day parade. We have a organization here I used to be part of that is We Got Your Six, and we like would have like a veterans fair every year. They would donate money for that, donate food and stuff. So they do a lot of that kind of stuff, but instead of being at a VFW or a Legion, they are just a group of dudes in a motorcycle club, and they do motorcycle club stuff too. They have chapters all over, and they have their national thing. It's a whole big thing they do. It's, it's still helping. It's just not in the traditional sense. And I think that might be, I'm not high in the VFW, like, and I know super active.
I know a lot of women don't do a lot of stuff with the VFW because a lot of women veterans don't feel 100% part of it.
Right.
I mean, even my local VFW for the longest time, they would tell the women veterans, "Oh, you can be part of the auxiliary."
Yeah, the auxiliary.
No, we're actual veterans.
Yeah.
We're not the spouses of. And they're like, no, we don't have a spot for you.
Yeah.
No, you aren't allowed to be a full member. You're just part of the auxiliary. And so a lot of women veterans refuse to be involved in VFW, in the American Legion, and any of that stuff. And so we've all developed our own little groups. Like, locally we have Pink Berets and the Women's Veteran Association and the San Antonio Veteran Association. And it's all women's veteran groups that are just women. Right. Because we don't feel welcome at some of those other places. And I think that stigma needs to stop as well.
Yep, absolutely. And I think it is. I think as some of those older veterans age out and either pass on or just become less active, that it opens up opportunities for, I don't know how to put this without sounding like a dick, but like the younger generation, somebody like me who served with women in combat, right?
And you understand it better.
I understand, like, it doesn't matter how we pee, whether we do it standing up or sitting down, we still, we were in the same fucking sandbox fighting the same enemy. Why the fuck should you not be able to come to the VFW and drink a beer with me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think, but if you look back at the way, even just in Vietnam, like, it was okay to be a nurse. You could be a nurse in Saigon, but you can't go to a fire base. You know what I mean? You couldn't be a helicopter. You couldn't be, So they're still used to that, like, separation of powers, where since Desert Storm and now, our era of veterans has been integrated, and it's not a thing. So I think as those people, phase out and the younger generation phases in,
a lot of that will change, continue to change.
But unfortunately, the damage has already been done. You know what I mean? If you came back from Iraq 10 years ago and tried to go to the VFW and all them old crotchety fucks like, I don't want no chicks in my bar, are you going to go back? You know what I mean?
No.
And like, so that damage is already done. And you might, eventually venture back in there at some point, whether it be 10, 15 years later when those crouchy little fucks are gone. But what happened?
But I don't want to wait until I'm 70 to go to the VFW.
Exactly. And when you can go, hang out with
and I'm 53 now and I'm active.
Yep.
When I'm 70, I might not be that active. There might, who knows how my health is going to decline. Hopefully, knock on wood, it doesn't. But it's like, why would I wait until I'm 70 to go join?
Yeah.
Because all the old guys are finally gone when I should be able to do it now.
Yep.
Or the women getting out, right behind me. I got out, 14 years ago.
Right.
The women that have got out in the past 14 years in their 20s and 30s, they're 40 years old now, or some of them are 30 years old now. They want to go now. They don't want to wait until they're 50.
Right.
And I get it.
Well, and Cat Wayne says he loves a good old fat J though. Plus, I just sold my chopper. Fuck yeah, dude.
Good for him.
I quit smoking like 10 years ago, or no, 5 years ago. It was 2000 or 2020. Fuck, I'm old. So 2020, I quit smoking cigarettes.
When you quit smoking cigarettes?
Yeah. And but I just kind of do edibles. I'm not a big smoker.
Do you notice what I don't have?
Your vape.
Yeah. Guess what I did?
Did you quit?
Yeah, I quit.
Good job. That's awesome.
It was taking money and it was taking it was exhausting.
Right. Quinn.
I'm kind of over it.
Quinn said possibly an age difference, but I'm in a military community area and the active duty members really don't have much available time. As for the women vets, they are truly a minority in the groups as well. And that's one thing I was curious about, and I'm kind of glad that she brought that up. Or Quinn brought that up. Quinn, are you here? I'm sorry if I'm making assumptions. But like I was wondering if in different, because like I said, I live in a very rural area. And there's still some kind of, I don't know how to put this up, being a dick. Those like traditional values. There's boy jobs and girl jobs. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like the Bible Belt kind of stuff.
Yep. And so I didn't know if you got somewhere else, especially closer to an installation where you generally have a lot of retirees and you have a lot of like, people who hang out there.
Here in New Braunfels, we're 20 minutes from San Antonio, one of the largest military cities there is. And we have a lot of women veteran organizations, but I honestly, the few times I have been to the VFW or the American Legion, it's generally the only women that I see are the women that are there with their boyfriend or spouse or whatever that served.
Right.
I don't see that many actual women who served at those specific places.
Yep. And I think that is a thing. And it also is what percentage of the military today do you think is female? 10%?
I used to know this. If I had to guess, maybe let me do a little research.
I'll just Google it right now. I just didn't know if you knew off the top of your head.
2.5 seconds. I used to know. If you'd asked me a year ago, I could have told you because I was doing, all the research and stuff, but I've been so crazy.
What percentage
busy.
of the military is female? 17.7% as of 2023. So that's more than I thought.
It's even higher than the last time I knew what it was.
Well, and that's an increase from 17.5% in 2022. So it is increasing still, right? Which is good. I'm happy with that. But I wonder when you look at something like a service, we'll take the VFW. Okay. I wonder if that percentage is equally represented when you go to the VFW, right? If 17% of the fighting force is female, is 17% of the VFW female, or 17% of the Legion, or 17% of the Marine Corps League. So I mean that kind of I'll especially say the Legion, right? Because I'll go back to we'll go back to the comment we just had, where basically it's until the last couple years, until the last probably 25, 30 years, women weren't allowed to really deploy like that, right?
Yeah.
So exactly. Those Vietnam vets, there was women and women nurses in Saigon and some women pilots and some that did transfers from Japan and back or whatever. But for the most part, the majority of the military at that time was male. So that's not a
and you've also got to think out of that 17% that serve, And if you take it back to like when I got out,
Mhm.
say maybe it was 10% when I got out, like in 2010. Out of that 10%, how many of those women are actually combat veterans? Because I'm not.
Mm.
I never deployed to a combat area.
Yeah.
So I can go to the VFW as an auxiliary member. I can't be an actual member. I do not have.
You don't have.
I mean, Egypt is now being reconsidered as an area because we got hazardous duty pay, and they're saying, okay, well, maybe we're going to let you guys go ahead and have memberships because, yeah, you were in an area and you received hazardous duty pay.
Mhm.
But I didn't go to Iraq. I didn't go to Afghanistan. So maybe the American Legion numbers are bigger.
Right.
And of that, can you honestly say, okay, well then if 10% served, then are 10% being represented? Well, if only maybe 3% of that 10% actually are combat. So it's going to be a lot smaller. So it might not just be the fact that women aren't going. It might also just be the fact that a lot of women don't qualify.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and I think there's something to that. So, I mean, I just would be curious, because I don't know, I'm just pulling all this out of my ass now. I no longer have any sort of like data to go on, right? But you have X amount of people that get out of the military every year. We'll say 500,000 servicemen and women get out of the military every year. Not a clue if that's anywhere near accurate, but I'm just making this up.
Yeah,
okay?
You're just pulling a number.
Pull a number out of my ass. So we'll say 500,000, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Of that, realistically, a small percent, maybe 25%, is going to I can't think of a name. They're gonna join a veteran service organization, the Legion or the VFW or DAV, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And I think 25% is a high number. I don't think it's near that many, especially when they first get out, right?
Yeah, a lot of them, it takes them a hot minute.
Like Quinn was saying that, he recruited in the 90s by the Vietnam vets, right? So we'll say across the board it's 17% female, and we'll say, I bet it's closer to 10% of the total people who get out every year would actually join a veteran service organization right out of the gate. Some people take 5-10 years afterwards, or when my kids are growing, now I can finally dedicate some time to something, or whatever it is. And I'm not judging, I'm just saying. So if you have, of the 500,000 who get out, 50,000 go and actually join a veteran service organization across the country, right? And of those, only a handful are females. And then even fewer qualify for things like the VFW. So they go to the Legion. Like, I'm just curious, like, of
and
a
then
chart.
how many of those are actually active in it?
Yes. So if you TeeZee went to your local VFW, it might not be super common to see a woman sitting there who's an actual combat veteran, because it's just there hasn't been the opportunity for that. And then the opportunities that were there, then they lose a little bit to not wanting to be in a VSO or in the VFW or the Legion, or they have this and they have this, or they have kids, or they have families, they have stuff. And I'm guilty of that. Before my kids came to live with me, I was pretty active in the VFW here. Now I've got kids, and so I can't spend fucking every Wednesday going to burger night. I can't spend every other Tuesday going to a VFW meeting, because I have stuff I have to do. I have soccer practice. I have graduation parties. I have this, that, and the other. I have all these things that, and someday when these kids are grown and moved out and I have some more time, maybe I will I would like to get more involved with the VFW here. But I just
think
don't have it.
another factor is mental health.
Yeah.
Because you got to think about it. The group of people that go to show up places, when you first get out, you probably don't want to be around a lot of people. It takes a lot of service members a really long time to trust, or to be in a building with 30 other people, or to share their story, or to and maybe they just feel like mental health wise they're just not there. They can't even get out of their house, much less go to the VFW. It may take 10 or 15 years after they get out to be at a point where their mental health is good enough where they can actually be involved in something like that.
Yeah.
It's one thing to join, it's another thing to join in.
Yeah.
And so that could be a lot of it too.
Let's see. Deanne said she's 48 and I still do not feel accepted because of, it is the older ones that didn't serve with women in that way. I was a Navy corpsman, and as females, we still weren't always welcomed by our male counterparts. Yeah. Yep. I still think that there are servicemen who do not accept women as their equals.
Oh, you don't got to think it. It's true.
Right. Well, and
I get.
I'm gonna go back. Hold on a second, because I know that you're passionate about this. So let me say this, and then you can go on whatever rant you want about it. Okay. I've never been that. I've never been that dude who's been like, oh, you're a chick, you can't do it. Now, that being said, I think that there are standards for a reason, and you should be able to meet those standards. And I don't give a shit what you have between your legs. I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care who you worship. If you are supposed to run 2 miles in this amount of time, you should be able to do it. Period. I don't care. And if you want to have different standards for women, I don't care. If you want to have different standards per MOS, I don't care. But if you say this is the standard, you need to train to standard, and you need to be able to do X, Y, or Z, you should be able to do it. No questions asked. Period.
Yeah.
Now,
at any job, and I'm not just talking about the military. Any job, it should be that way.
Exactly. Now, does that mean that you as a female or you as a woman are not as capable to do job A than me, or vice versa, because of the bits that we have hanging between our legs? No, absolutely not. So, that being said,
not everyone thinks that way.
Exactly. And I think in the military, especially in certain, I'm gonna pick on my Marines right now, and I've spent plenty of time in them. I think the Marine Corps is one of the worst. And I love the fact that I was in the Marine Corps. I love being a Marine. I'm not trying to talk shit about the Marine Corps, but it's the good old boys club. It always has been.
No.
And
I think it ranks like Marines are the worst. Army is below that. Then I'd have to say Navy, Air Force, and I can't comment on the Coast Guard because I have no clue.
Well, you have a daughter in the Coast Guard. Does she have the same kind of...
She feels fine. She feels welcome. She's only, in the almost 10 years she's been in, she's had one chief, ever, one chief. And that was at her very first duty station, who made her feel even in the least bit like she didn't belong there.
Right.
She has never felt uncomfortable about it. She's never, and she expresses to me when she feels like somebody's being a certain kind of way.
Right.
I mean, and she's my child, so she's got a mouth. There you go.
Right.
She has no problem talking and defending herself, but she has really only ran into one chief in almost 10 years that has made her feel like she shouldn't have joined the military, that she was not capable enough, that men should only be doing this job.
Right. Now, and I'll go back to my Marine Corps time when I was stationed at Fort Worth, Texas. Okay, that was a Joint Reserve base in Fort Worth, by the old Carswell Air Force Base there. And I would almost make the argument, and granted, this is in 2003-ish, 2004 when I got out of there, okay, that the Navy was worse about it than the Army when I went in the Army. Now, there's a couple years in there, but, and I think that has to do with ships, like having women on the boat. I think that was a big hiccup. That people were fine. They were fine when you had shore duty. They were absolutely fine with going.
When they have to go out.
When they have to go on the ship. When they get a sea duty, then they were like, well, I don't know if we really want these chicks.
I think that's kind of the Coast Guard is kind of the same way. My daughter says, because her first duty station was on a cutter.
Yep.
And her next duty stations, both of them were either in the air. She was with the air rescue people, or now she's POA, public affairs, whatever.
Okay.
PAO.
Yeah.
So and she says she doesn't feel that at all in either one of these stations, and I that's probably right. It's probably has a lot to do with the fact that she's not on a ship anymore. Yeah. She's not on the water.
Well, and I
think you're right about that.
And there has been, there's been some years in that time too, and I think it's a combination of that. Now, because when I went in the Army, I went to field artillery, and at the time that was not integrated. That was still 100% male. Because it was combat arms, and that was before combat arms was open to females. But I still, when I was in Iraq, we were, in the LA over next to us, there was, I think that was a motor transport company, and they had several females. And then there was a MP unit that shared an LA with them. They had several females, and we all ran the same fucking missions, right?
Yeah.
We shared a motor pool with them. Like we all did the same convoy escort missions. Just happens to be that we were a field artillery battery. Well, they were an MP company, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Same fucking job, exact same fucking job, and they were just as competent at their job as we were at ours, right?
Yeah.
Just we were fucking, we were there and they were there too. Like just where we came from was a little bit different. So that's why after that deployment is when I really thought it was asinine that you are going to tell a female soldier that she can't be field artillery or she can't be infantry or she can't be whatever when everyone's doing the same fucking job.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Just because that gal had a different MOS, I was a fucking 13 Fox, right? She was whatever. MPs are what, 35 something, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I can't remember.
Whatever.
It's been so long.
Right, but doing the same fucking job as me. Just because she can't have my MOS because she is a woman doesn't mean we're not doing the exact same fucking job. So that's, in my opinion, a moot point. Well, I don't know if a female can do the job. Doing the same fucking job as I am. Doing it just fine.
Yeah.
Did it for a year. I saw her every fucking day. You know what I mean? So, like, don't fucking tell me that she can't do it. And so that was, and like I said, I don't think, and I think that this is the hang up for some people. Oh, if a female goes in the infantry, when they got the same fucking PT test as you, buddy, if they can fucking pass it, they can pass it. If they can pass, they have the same.
That's what they want to do. Good for them.
Yep. And
let
if they
them
have,
go. Let them pass. Let them.
And I don't think they should, when it comes to like Rangers and stuff, right? Whatever. Pick a SEAL trident.
Do not relax the standard. If that's what they want to do, then they need to meet the standard. And I'm cool with that.
Because here's the deal: if I don't meet I don't meet the standard as a dude, I shouldn't make it. Doesn't matter if I got a fucking dick or not. If I can't meet the standard, I shouldn't do it.
There you go.
And that's the point. And I think that especially in the special operations community, as far as I know, because I'm not special operations, but as far as I know, they haven't changed the standards to make it more suitable for females. Nor should they.
Not to my knowledge, but again, like I said, I don't know.
Right. Because there's plenty of fucking dudes who don't pass the standard. Period.
Yeah.
And that's when they're like,
There's
we got to
plenty
get rid of
dudes who don't pass the regular standard.
Right? Like I fucking could. Well, hey, don't fucking ask me to pass height and weight anymore. I promise that ain't going to happen. But
Ooh, I can pass the weight again.
Can you? Nice. Good job.
Yeah. I can finally pass weight for my age in the military.
To the same point, why is it when women get to sea duty, they spontaneously get pregnant? I don't know. And I like I said, the women that I served with in Fort Worth, and that was a weird, okay, this is not indicative of the whole Navy, and I understand that. Okay. Yeah. It was a joint reserve base. A lot of because I was active duty there at Carswell or at NASJRB Fort Worth. And a lot of the women that I saw every day, Marine and Navy, were the Marines. They were called ARs or active reservists, and the Navy called them TARs, TAR, and it's something active reserves. I don't know what the T stands for, but they're active reservists. So they're the active duty personnel of a reserve unit, right? Because you have to, and they flew we flew planes and helicopters every fucking day. We did all the stuff that we did I did the same stuff on active duty as I did at that base. We just were kind of the skeleton crew. And then and that was the weird part there because you'd see fucking gunnery sergeants. You'd see E7s out fucking sweeping the flight liner, fucking cleaning the head because there wasn't any fucking E4s and E3s to do it. We were all fucking, well, I was a corporal at the time, but I went from being in charge of fucking 13 Marines to coming to being in charge of 0 Marines and fucking being at the bottom again. There wasn't any Lance Corporals there except for on drill weekends. And even
I was
then,
with the field artillery unit at Fort Sill, but we were an active reserve unit.
Yeah. Well,
so it's kind of the same thing.
Yep. So you kind of know the deal. And so that was kind of like a weird place there. But so like the Navy gals there, when they had sea duty, so they had an AIMD, which is like the ship's company, whatever. And then they had the squadrons. They had VFA 201 was there. I don't know if they're not there, and they had VR 59 there when I was there. And so their sea duty was just going to like the squadron. So they never left Fort Worth.
Okay.
They would just go to 201
yeah.
and then they go back to base. They go back to, shore duty, sea duty, shore duty. And it was literally across the street. Like on one side of the street was AIMD, and then it wasn't even like a real street. It was like it used to be a road that they had closed off that you could walk down it, and you could take like a tug or something down it. But on one side was AIMD, and then the door, if you walked out one door and into the other, then you're at the squadron. You were at 201. That was like their hangar was right there.
That sounds like my daughter's unit down in Corpus Christi.
Right.
Because one side of the building was basically their Coast Guard shore people.
Yeah.
And then the other side was the cutter people.
Right.
Which were, out on the water.
Right.
So yeah, sounds like the same thing.
Right. And it was, the flight line was kind of L-shaped. And then the Marines were on one end, the Navy was in the middle. Then you made a hook. And if you went down there that way, it was Texas Air National Guard. And I think it was they had a C-130 squadron, Air Force C-130 squadron, and Air Force F-16 squadron. Then they had the Navy F-18s, Marine Corps F-18s, and then they had Marine Corps C-130s, and then the Navy had a VR squadron. So they flew like 737s. And it was crazy. But it was so you know what I mean? It wasn't the same as when you go on sea duty and you go to an actual fucking and 201 would go to ship. They would go to sea and they would do, I don't know, touch and goes. They do all their quals and shit. But, it was such a weird dichotomy there. I don't even want to call it a real base because it was so much different than it was so weird. I remember because I was a helicopter guy and I got there and they didn't the Marine medium helicopter squadron that was there is HMM 363 or some shit like that, 366. They were I got there and 2 months later, they were fucking, they were deactivating. That's that picture behind me of the Corsair with me standing in my blues next to it. That's when they decommissioned the squadron. Yeah. So,
cool.
Yeah. But so I got there and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I was like, I'm here to, fly on helicopters. We don't have helicopters." Like, "Well, what the fuck do you want me here to do here then?" And they're like,
right, that's my job.
And they're like, well, I guess you could go to MALS, which is like the intermediate level. So I had take another class, but I stayed there. And now, but I walk in, and I was coming from the Fleet Marine Force, right? Everyone's, gunnery sergeant, yes sergeant, no sergeant, all they're real fucking. The Marine Corps is real strict on rank and rank structure, and it's not, hey sergeant, hey staff sergeant, or gunnery sergeant. There's no fucking, you call them by their full rank, right? And I walk in, and there was a first-class petty officer. In the AIMD/MALS, it was combined. So there was Navy and Marines in the same building doing the same job, right? Which was fine because it was, like I said, we were basically a skeleton crew. So I walk in, there's a Navy E6, who's the airframe's chief. And I'm like, "Oh, good morning, petty officer." And he just sticks his hand out. He's like, "Oh, just call me Jeff." And that was I'm still in my class A's, right? My alphas. I'm checking in. I was leaving the headquarters debt and walking over with my fucking SRB in my hand still. You know what I mean? I have SRB in my training jacket. Yeah.
Just call me Jeff.
Just call me Jeff, he says. And I'm like, this is fucking
I don't think
strange.
I'm allowed to do that.
Yeah. I don't know. What? And then the head, and I was like, I'm looking for Gunnery Sergeant Emmerich, whatever, and they're like, "Oh yeah, he's around the corner. He's in this office." He was the airframes chief, and I walk in there, and I'm like, "Morning, Gunnery Sergeant." Report in and everything, all parade rest and everything. He's like, "Dude, you where'd you come from?" And I was like, "Miramar." He's like, "You need to fucking tone it down, buddy.
You bring it down a notch. Here's where you're at, and here's where we need you to
We're
be.
down here. We're here, and you need to remember." And he's like, "You have to remember, you're just an E4." I'm like, "No, I'm a corporal." He's like, "No. You need to remember something. You're not." It's so. Yeah, it was
and
weird.
then you went and set a chair on fire.
That was later. There are some steps in there. But yeah.
Everybody's like, "He showed up. He set a chair on fire." What? No. There was much more to it.
Yeah, and the Carswell prison. The Carswell prison. Yeah, and the lake. I miss the lake. They had a really cool lake there. Fort Worth. It's Lake Worth, but we would
Uh-huh.
our 3-mile run loop for the PT test, or for it would go by the lake, and there's full of geese.
Oh,
And
cool.
I had my best times there because about a mile of our 3, the fucking geese are chasing you. So
Oh, and geese in Texas are mean.
they're
as
fucking
hell.
mean as shit. Those geese
They
were mean
are
as fuck.
evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have some here at our local park.
Yep.
I can count on my hand the number of times I've been to Dallas that haven't been in an airport.
Yep.
And that's once. And I
Mhm.
have lived in this state since 1974.
Yep.
I don't know anything about Dallas, Fort Worth.
You should go. It's cool. Well, is Cause still up there? I'm pretty sure about it.
He's up in that. Yeah, he's up in that area.
Now hold on a second, because you're gonna get, if you go up there, there's the one of the suburbs that surrounds the base is called White Settlement, and that's fucking that's
nice.
false advertising, because there's not a single white person that lived there. There was one when I moved there. That was it.
Well, one of my old soldiers lives in that area, and he's now a chef. And he's always trying to get me to go up there to visit and, and eat and just hang out. And he teaches kids. He teaches, I guess, at like a culinary arts school.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll take him up on it one
You
of
should.
these times and
It's
go
so
and
cool up
check
there.
out
It
Fort
really
Worth.
is. I actually want to take my wife down there. She's never been. And her brother, we'll say brother. She's got some weird family connections, whatever. But her brother lives in he's up by Denton. I think he's in like Louisville. And so I kind of want to take her down there and show her like my old stomping grounds and where we used to run around and
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Show her
and
where
then-
you set the chair on fire,
Yeah, exactly. Driving
So
in DFW's a
Quinn calls
shithole.
geese
Yes.
over chicken?
I will say this though. If you're going to go up there, fly. Because driving in DFW is a shit show. If you're not
Oh
good
no,
at,
I would never drive up there.
if you're
Not personally.
if
No,
you
thank
don't know
I don't
what-
even like to drive in San Antonio, people. I would never drive.
Now,
No.
here's the cool thing, though. I think Austin still does. If you go 35 through Austin, don't they still have like the double decker through downtown?
In Austin, yeah.
Yeah.
In Austin.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fucking crazy.
They
But
have
like,
the upper level and San Antonio's building one of those right now.
oh no.
yeah.
So, how many years ago was it that Jimmy's mom died? And I went down there. I was doing radio. I think it was right before you and I started together.
So when we've been doing this for 2 years now.
It was 2 or 3 years ago that yeah, it was. It was when the boy's mom died, and we had to go down there.
Mhm.
And it's changed a lot, and since I'd been down
Oh,
there.
I bet.
But
Well,
yeah, it was
New Braunfels
fucking
has
bad.
changed a shit ton. So is San Antonio. I can only imagine how much Dallas Fort Worth has changed.
Well, they had just finished like the Mixmaster downtown for I-20 and 35, or is that 30 and 25? And it was just
Yeah, I've
fuck,
never
dude.
driven through
It's like
Dallas.
you're driving taller than like the skyscrapers. It's fucking crazy. Dallas
When
is
I-
downtown Dallas and downtown Fort Worth is fucking nuts. Staying
when
like
I
out-
was
go in the
stationed
middle.
at Fort Sill and
Mhm.
I would come down here to bring the kids to their dad for
Yeah.
visitation and come down here to see family, I would always take 281. I wouldn't even go through. I mean, I could have gone through Dallas Fort Worth, but
See,
no, so I
35,
always take
35,
281.
if you go through Fort Worth, and this is probably about the same time, you were down there. If you take 35 and just stay on 35 and just go right through the fucking guts of Fort Worth, it's fine.
Mhm.
Used to be anyway. And depending on time of day. Like if you try to do it at 8:30 in the morning, it's going to be a mess.
Mhm.
But if you do it at like
Yeah.
11,
Oh, yeah.
it's fine, or at night, it's
I
whatever.
probably drove through there a couple times, but I mean, I was stationed at Sill in 99 to 2002.
Yeah. So
So
about
I
the same
mean, it's
time.
been years
Yeah,
ago.
that's
So I
about the same
imagine
time
it's
there. I was there, yeah.
totally different now.
I was there
Yeah.
2003, so yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you were there when
Mhm.
I was up at Sill.
Yeah. And it
huh,
was
huh.
fun. I had fun. I had fun. It was a good time, but I'm glad I don't live there anymore. Fuck that place. Actually,
35
I actually thought about moving back down there not too long before Anna and I got together. I was thinking about moving back down there. Cuz I'm sick of the winters.
Sucked you in.
She did.
I
She
love
made me
Anna.
stay. So,
I love her so much.
That is the
Your
worst to
wife
drive
is
on.
Just
Yes.
the best.
yeah, driving through Dallas or Fort Worth is the worst. Dallas
Just
is
35 in general is horrible.
yeah.
I hate 35. It's awful. It's never not under construction, and it's always a mess.
No, but if you go up there, you have to go to Billy Bob's. You have to go to Billy Bob's and watch a concert, and then you have to
I've
go
heard
to
that.
God. What's the name of that joint now? Omaha's. You have to
Well,
go.
my
You have to
friend's
go to
sister
Omaha's.
Actually, Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like the world's biggest fucking army surplus store. They have some cool shit in there. Yeah. Let's see what else. You have to go to.
Well, my friend's sister actually is on the entertainment whatever for the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo.
Yeah, go to that.
And so she's always like, you should come up and
You
go
should.
to the rodeo and check it out and look at the stockyards and blah blah blah.
The stockyards is cool. The stockyards is fun. Go there on a Friday. The most, probably the drunkest I've ever been was at this bar called Longhorns. And what they used to do, and this was years ago. So the Marine Corps, we do field day on Thursday nights, right? And then we have the inspection Friday morning. Well, after you fucking field day your room, you don't want to be in it, right? And so we would go down the stockyards.
No, of course not.
And because it was college night, Thursday nights was college night, and 25-cent drafts and dollar you call it's all night, and we would get fucking shitty, dude. We get so drunk.
Sounds like some of the bars at Fort Sill.
God, it was fun though. It was so fun. It was so fun. And my buddy Bannock was a bouncer there, and then one of the hydraulics chiefs, he was like one of the guys in charge of security at Billy Bob's. And so for for the big events, they would hire us in. He'd be like, "Hey man, you guys want to make some extra money this Friday or whatever? We got this concert. We need some extra security." So I got to
Fun.
David Allen Coe was one I did. Cross Canadian Ragweed.
Cross
Canadian Ragweed when they had Garage. Was it Garage that came out? I think it was Garage. Was that the one it was called? Anyway, they did a CD release party. And 99.5 The Wolf put it on, and they were giving out CDs and stuff, and we helped run security for that too. That was cool.
Oh, that's cool. Did you get one of the CDs?
Yeah. Yep. I still have it actually.
You should send it to me.
Why should I send it?
And I could get Cody Canada to sign it because he lives here.
Okay. Yeah. I'll send it to you then. I got to find it, but yeah, I've got it somewhere.
Yeah. He lives here.
It actually might even be in this room somewhere, but I'm not digging for it right now. Shit, it's 7:30. No wonder my fucking leg hurts so bad. I keep fucking doing this number where I'm picking myself up because my leg hurts.
Yeah, we've gone on for quite a while.
Yeah,
I was going to tell you I was only going to do an hour because I'm having some bad back pain.
Well, that's
we need to sitting at an hour and a half.
Yeah, let's wrap it up because because after my surgery, dude, below my knee is still numb. It's a sleep.
It's going to take a while.
Yeah, it fucking sucks.
Those nerves take a while to generate back, dude. It's going to take a while.
I just want them to not hurt. That's it. Just quit fucking hurt.
Fuck it.
Right. But anyway, let's go ahead and did you see if we had any guests coming up on the cut sheet or anything?
I have a little thing. Hold on. Let me pull it up because I was looking at it earlier, and of course my brain went bloop. What day is today? Monday on the 10th. They have guest Aaron Watson from the Watson Show. He is going to return and give them an update of his last appearance. So Monday night edition will have a guest on the 10th.
Cool. That's
Other
awesome.
than that, nobody else is scheduled.
Perfect. That
so
sounds
I did do some of my work.
Yay, that's great. Well, you've been listening to her, TeeZee, and me, Radar. She's been on hiatus for a little while, but we're so glad to have her back. But here at the Smoke Pit, we're here every Wednesday. Let's see, what time is it Eastern time? It's at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific. Every Wednesday we're here. Most Wednesdays, let's be honest. We are volunteers and we have real lives. Sometimes we can't make it. So
yeah,
but
there are times when we peace out.
Yep.
We try to give you advance notice.
Yep. Yeah. No. Hey, Captain Wayne, thanks for being here, dude. That's great. And Quinn, thanks for being here. Yeah. Oh, Phil wants to know where's the chicken. Is the chicken there?
The chicken's over there on my dresser.
Okay, but close enough. Close enough
well,
to be an influence.
He's with my luggage because I leave tomorrow.
Oh
he
yeah, that's right.
Everywhere.
Yep, yeah. He's your emotional support chicken.
Yeah, so he goes with me whenever I go on a trip. So he's over there with my luggage. So,
nice.
Sorry, he's not on the.
He'll be back next week.
Film.
Let's see. Tomorrow is Sergeant's time with Ice and Spanky. They'll be all sergeanting. And then Friday is a Don's day. I've figured this out. So they do that FX or whatever, that TFX or whatever. They do it on my paydays, which are every other Friday. Not this Friday. This Friday isn't a payday, so we're good. So Friday and Saturday are Don's days of no Spanky activities. And then Sunday is the sports bar with the actual King Smith and Coach. They'll be bringing you some good like sporting event stuff. Getting ready for March Madness. I'm sure they'll cover that. Some Caitlin Clark drama or something. I'm pretty sure about it. Anyway, Monday.
Baseball's kicking off.
Yes, baseball's in preseason already. I think the middle of the month, like the 18th or so, I think they start actual practice or actual real games. And then let's see, Monday is the Monday edition with a guest. It's aptly named because it's the Monday. It happens on Mondays and it happens in edition, so it's good. Tuesday, Pop Culture Warrior with CQ, and I don't even know who he had last week or what's going on. He has guests.
I
don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then come back to us next Wednesday. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks for hanging out. Really do appreciate you. Really do. I really do. I can't express to you enough how much you're the reason we keep doing this. And
Exactly.
So keep coming, keep hanging out, keep shooting the shit. Really, really do enjoy it. And I can't thank you enough for spending your valuable. It's Ash Wednesday. You could be at church, and I appreciate you guys being
Ash
here.
Wednesday for the ashy people.
Yep, for those with ashy elbows or whatever. So, but hey, I do appreciate it. For TeeZee, you got anything for us?
Nope, I'm good, man.
All right, and
I'm going to be gone for the next 4 days, but I'll see you guys next week.
Yep, and we're gonna let you go. We'll play some Turnpike Troubadours for our outro. How's that sound?
On the way out the door.
Yep. All right.
That works for me. I like them.
They're awesome. So, hey, thank you guys so much, and we will see you next week. Shots.
All right. Bye.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show.